news. 6 arrested in burglary of Buddhist temple. Possible nationwide spree. So, in Arkansas, an organized wave of break-ins and thefts at Buddhist temples is sweeping across the United States. Most of these criminal endeavors occurred at Asian American temples that serve Buddhist immigrants from Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Sri Lanka. So far, these burglaries have occurred in Arizona, North Carolina, Southern California, and Oklahoma. 6 people were arrested in May 2021 for charges ranging from robbery, trespassing, and assault on a Buddhist temple in Rogers, Arkansas. 5 women and a man have been detained who are all identified as Romanian natives. The Chua Duc Vien temple was targeted initially on April 18th by 4 women asking for prayers on behalf of a family member. A few days later, 6 suspects returned to the temple, forced themselves inside, and stole cash donations.
Wait, is this because Buddhists like are non-violent and they think like they're not going to defend themselves, so they're like easy pickings?
I think, well, that's kind of what I wanted to. I wanted to raise this news item because it's not often we talk about Buddhist things, let alone what looks like just discrimination, or at least the targeting of Buddhists. And I think that actually might be a part of this.
Maybe and also they go ahead. They know they have money.
Yeah. Also, maybe because like, hey, we're just helping you separate from the material world. Like, like, like
here's a really good chance to practice your dharma.
We're just helping you reach Nirvana. Like, yeah, you can't just stay connected to the material world. Like, this is not part of your ideology. Let us help you separate you away from. I don't know.
Suffering comes from attachment, y'all.
Yeah, why are you not letting us take? Are you attached to these things that we're taking? Right? Like, maybe you should like revisit your ideology if you're too attached to. Yeah.
Well, what I think's so interesting about this story, though, too, is it busts like a lot of assumptions that people have about a lot of things. Like, oh, Buddhists? There's Buddhist temple in Arkansas, and some Romanians are robbing the Buddhist immigrants and some Romanian immigrants. And so all these people may have these ideas about what they think about places or people or who perpetrators might be or why. And not that I'm glad that these people were robbed. That's not that they were violated. But I think it's really interesting when things bust people's preconceived notions about how things go down and who people are and where those people are and what certain places are like. And so I think that that's a really interesting aspect of this because people make a lot of assumptions. And this one kind of has nothing that you would maybe necessarily assume.
Yeah, Will Philly is saying, I spent time in a Buddhist temple and most of the donations are in cash. That is great for robbers. Yeah, so
yeah, that's exactly
one of these temples that they robbed for $1,500 in cash just at one place. And they had an MO at one of these places that or what they would repeatedly do is they go in and they ask for prayers for a sick family member. And then while some of them are doing that, like distracting the nun or kind of the person who is like the caretaker for the temple, then the other ones go case the place. And they either rob it then while they're distracted, while the person's trying to like pray for them, or they come back and what they did in Arkansas, they force their way inside. And in Arkansas, they forced their way inside the temple and there was only this nun who was like watching it. And she had to run away. They chased after her. There was a neighbor who helped her. But I don't know. It's so, I think this is sad isn't really the right word, but if this happened to me or my community, it would just feel like such a violation, especially like now that there's a pattern that this seems like that these targets were purposefully chosen. And I don't know. I think about the people who it's their job to take care of these places and these buildings feeling less safe. And it just makes me feel bad inside.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like this group are professional grifters, that some of this, like, yeah, Armin's point about not fighting back, but also really, I thought, the cash thing. And so this is easy pickings for them. And there may be a myriad of other type of organizations or people that they targeted because they could trick them or grift them, or and it is sad, especially if it's an elderly person alone in this building. It's very scary. And you're right, it's absolutely a violation when people do things like this.
Okay, they can't be that professionals. I can see in the security camera captured their faces and their car, like, plate number. I mean, look, even you have the best excuse right now to wear a mask properly. You have the best goddamn excuse to move into buildings right now with a full face coverage. But even with all the excuse in the world, you don't cover. Like, you're robbing a place and you don't, like, and nobody would suspect you for covering your face because they think you have a good excuse. And even in the middle of a robbery, you don't cover your face properly, lady. Like, look at there. Like, wait, are these people caught? Because this was we know their car and we have their faces.
But remember, they've been doing, not necessarily them, but there's people doing this all over the country. And my thought, it probably may be some organized group that a lot of these people are involved in, because it happened in several different places. Now, I don't know, maybe it's the same people, but the MO sounds just like grifters.
But my question is, like, so have you saw that they got caught, or are they still?
Yeah, they're arrested for this.
Oh, okay.
For their most recent one in
Arkansas. Yeah.
But what's interesting
these
is that, so apparently all 6 of the individuals who are arrested for this are Romani. And in news articles that I found outside of our site, by the way, not on our site, the comments were filled with all this anti-Romani hate, saying they're not Romanian. Don't call them Romanian. They're the G word.
Racist stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I thought was really, like, a totally different angle to this news item.
Oh no! Okay.
A lot of people going, this is what Romanis do, blah blah blah. Like,
no,
right?
No. Oh my god!
It played into the idea that this ethnic group is just grifters,
Yeah, as in, like.
Well, I didn't know they were Romani. I thought they were just Romanian.
No, I mean, I know you didn't, but
no, it's interesting because, like, there's grifting happening all the time by all sorts of races.
Every culture, every group.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is so stupid. By the way, I just want to mention something else. This kind of reminds me, how we said, like, Buddhist temples are kind of, like, vulnerable. This reminds me of, like, the Vikings discovering how a lot of Christian churches had, like, a lot of gold and nobody to defend them, and they're like, we didn't even kill anybody, like, we just walked in and just picked it up. Like, they couldn't believe their luck, right? So I don't know, just religious. I know it's not relevant, but just religious institutions just having money around for people to come pick up just reminded me of the Viking. Yeah.
And there was, so in the article that we posted to our site, you can find the sources in the description. We had 2 videos from YouTube from 2 different reportings on these robberies. So the one you see right here is from a robbery in Arizona. There's one in the bottom of the article from Arkansas, and they were interviewing a woman from the community, and she was saying that she had an Asian business that was targeted, and she said that she thinks that they target Asian businesses because they're known to carry a lot of cash, according to her. So
okay, I have to correct this idiot in the live chat. Okay, Spencer, I didn't say they didn't murder anybody. I said, like, sometimes they didn't even have to. Okay, of course the Vikings murdered. Really? The Vikings murdered a lot of people? Thank you so much for the news, Spencer. Amazing. Like, that's amazing knowledge. I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh my God.
Maybe listen to what I was saying. Yeah. But there were situations where they couldn't believe that they just had to walk in and walk out and just pick up the goals. I said there were instances. I didn't say they didn't murder anyone. All right. Yes, Vikings had it really easy. In some situations, there were situations where there was a lot of killing. All right, cool. All right. Anything you guys want to add or like look at the live chat before I grab the next news?
No, I mean, I just think it's important to highlight these situations because sometimes certain communities are seen as more vulnerable because they're like perceived as not being less likely to speak up against abuses they face. And that's particularly true for a lot of the Asian American community. And it's unacceptable. And
Okay.
we'll see how this turns out for these 6 individuals.
Yes. Wait. When they got arrested, they got the money back?
I don't know. I couldn't find details on damages.
Okay. I hope they got the money back.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.